Welcome to this week's edition of Central Arkansas Basketball Report, and joining me head coach is Corliss Williamson of the UCA Bears and Sandra Rushing of the UCA Sugar Bears. We got on the road last week. Both teams opened up Southland Conference play and finally back here at home in the Ferris Center for this week's conference openers. And first, Coach Williamson, I know after getting off on the road, it's always good to come home. Just talk about the atmosphere here at the Ferris Center and the fans and what they mean to your program.
It means a lot to have the fans here. We're playing doubleheader games now, and Coach Rushing and Sugar Bears do an excellent job in their games, playing well and getting the crowd going. And we try to come in and follow their lead. So, it's an exciting atmosphere for college basketball, and we really enjoy playing here at the Cave.
And Coach Rushing, same question for you. And I know you have a unique perspective. You've coached here against the Sugar Bears in this atmosphere, and now you've been able to coach on the home sideline. Kind of talk about your assessment of playing here at the Ferris Center and what this place means for your team.
Well, it is a great atmosphere, and to be honest with you, I'm glad I'm in purple because when you're the opposing coach, or the fans are wonderful, and it's a home court advantage. And just being here and watching the crowd the other night was amazing. And I mentioned that on the radio, and they helped pull us through.
Well, we'll take a look back at both conference openers for the men and the women as Northwestern State and Stephen F. Austin came here to the Ferris Center. We'll be with head coach Corliss Williamson right after this as we return on the Central Arkansas Basketball Report.
This is the Central Arkansas Basketball Report, sponsored by Conway Chamber of Commerce, AT&T, All Clean Restoration Services, Crane Automotive, AT&T, The Real Yellow Pages, Sonic Drive-In, Log Cabin Democrat, and Zaxby's.
If you're coming to Conway for football, get ready to put your game face on. For shopping, dining, accommodations, and more, come for football. Stay to play. Learn more at conwayarkansas.org.
I know, I'm Will. And this is the Nokia Lumia 920 from AT&T. It's got live tiles, so all my stuff's always right there in real time. It's like the ultimate personal assistant.
But I'm me, and me needs handlers, so I hired Todd to handle it for me. Todd, give me that Hollywood news.
What's happening on Twitter?
You're trending.
Yes. I like you, Todd. I don't like Todd because he's quitting, but now I'm hiring a new Todd, and it could be you.
Go to workforwill.com and try live tiles that deliver what you want in real time. Only from AT&T. Rethink possible.
Welcome back to the show, and joining me, Coach Corliss Williamson. And I know it was a rough week on the road last week, but always good to get back home. You had your conference home openers this week, and just talk about what kind of place and the energy the fans give your ball club as they go out every game.
Well, the fans here at the Ferris Center do a great job of supporting our guys. The thing I like about the conference play this year, we have double headers, so the women, they played an excellent game before us, so the crowd was really pumped up, and we were anxious to get out there and see if we could follow their lead.
Stephen F. Austin came in. They'd only lost one game coming into the game, coming into your matchup, and I think it was against Texas A&M, so no slouch there. But the way they play, very defensive-oriented style of basketball under Coach Casper, who's been there a long time. Just talk about some of the things that y'all needed to work on going into that game.
Well, Coach Casper does a great job of preparing his team. I mean, he has a system in place. He's been doing it for years, so it's like a well-oiled machine. They just keep going and going. We tried to prepare our team for the physicalness of the game. We knew that they were going to be very physical on the offensive end and the defensive end. I mean, they do a great job of getting the ball inside to the big guy and playing from the inside out on the offensive end of the court. And then defensively, they don't give you anything. You have to work for everything. They try to keep you out of the paint. They contest shots and they box out, and they do an excellent job on the boards.
As we go to the highlights, I know one thing that buoyed your team was the return of Quentin Miles. Kind of talk about what he means to this team and how his reemergence kind of helped this team through the week.
Well, it was very exciting to have LaQuentin back. Wish we would have had him at the beginning of the season, beginning of conference play. We thought he really could have helped us there, but we knew he was going to be itching to get back on the court, and we knew it was going to be an adjustment period before our guys got acclimated to him being back with the team again, but we're excited to have him back.
I know that get off to a slow start against Stephen F. Austin. They do that, though. That's kind of what they do, but you're able to kind of find your legs after a few minutes and just kind of talk about that opening half of play.
Well, in the opening half, at home, you expect to come out with a little more energy. You expect to make the runs early in the game, and unfortunately, Stephen F. Austin took it to us early, and we found ourselves playing from behind.
I know you found yourself playing from behind, but it seems like what's happened all along. You got a good drive into the paint right there, kind of opened it up, and once you got going, you were able to hang with them and have a back-and-forth first half.
Yes, we were, and that's something that our guys, we have confidence that we can get it going. Offensively, we feel like we can score with anyone in our conference. Just on the other end of the court, defensively, we had to do a better job. We thought we gave up some open three-pointers early in the game, which gave them an opportunity to take the lead. But our guys fought back. We continued to play the game the right way. As you see here with Dado Barrete driving, penetrating, and finishing with a layup there.
You talked about their defense, and still for the game you shot 47%. You were able to get good looks and finish when you had opportunities.
Yes, we were. I mean, our guys did an excellent job of attacking. We were able to get into the paint more than any team's gotten into the paint against them all year. So there were some positive things coming out of that basketball game. But, once you dig yourself a hole early in the first half, it's really tough to come back on a tough defensive-minded team like Stephen F. Austin.
Talk about the toll it takes on your team as well, falling behind. I know we talked about you got back into the game, but I know that takes a little more energy to kind of work yourself out of a hole early, doesn't it?
It does. You fight so hard to climb out of that hole and come back and get the momentum going. And it always seems like when you do find yourself at that breaking point where you can turn the corner or get over the hump, you always have a turnover or misassignment on defense, and it really kills your momentum. So that's why it's important that you don't get behind early in the games.
You were down 7 at the break, 38-31, but your bench came up big in this game. Your bench outscored their bench by 14 points. Talk about how big your bench play is to this team.
Oh, the bench play is very important for us. I mean, we ended up with 20 points from our bench. Dado Barrete led the bench with 8 points and 5 rebounds and 2 assists. So when our bench comes in and ready to play, it gives us an opportunity to continue the momentum that our starters have begun to just demonstrate on the court at that time.
I know one thing coming in you were kind of concerned about were turnovers. You only turned it over 11 times. You won the turnover battle, so I know that's kind of one of those things that as you look to go on through the season improvement, that's one of those things you can build on.
Yes, it is. We took care of the basketball at home. On the road, we had some struggles here of late taking care of the basketball, but I thought we did an excellent job of taking care of the ball. We were able to force Stephen F. into some turnovers there, as you see, and Oliver Well gets an open 2-point shot there. And we were just able to make a run there towards the end.
I know one of the things that kind of hurt your team, though, is rebounding and free throw shooting. But that's things y'all continue to work on, but kind of bit you in the end, didn't it?
Yes, it does. We continue to work on free throws. I think we shot 57% from the free throw line. We left a lot of points out there that could have helped us at key moments during the second half when we were making the run to get back into the game. So we have to do a better job of that, and we also have to do a better job of keeping the other team off the boards because they beat us on the rebounding margin 42-28.
Well, coming off that loss to Stephen F. Austin, you had to turn your attention immediately to Northwestern State. As you mentioned earlier in this segment, 2 completely contrasting styles. Northwestern State kind of mirrors your style a little bit, except they go 10-11 deep, so I know it's hard to prepare for a program like that.
Yes, it is. Once you get used to the first 5 that's out there, you may have something going or you recognize some mismatches. Before you know it, coach will get mad and sub in 5 new players, so now you have to make the adjustments and recognize the matchups at that time. And Coach McConaughey does a great job with his program. I mean, those guys buy into the system. They don't care who starts or how many minutes they play, they're going to play hard. Style-wise,
I know they play similar to your style. Is it easier to prepare for a team like that, or since they have so many players that play at different times, is it more difficult to try to figure up your matchups?
I think for us it was a little easier to prepare for them. It's kind of like how we practice every day. So it's a fast-paced game. The thing was, is were we going to be able to match their intensity early in the game as we started off, and I think that was the area that we struggled in.
So as we go to the highlights, is that one thing that you're kind of worried about off those 3 close losses to start conference play, is kind of how your team may come out of the gates?
Yes, it is. We've struggled coming out of the gates in the first 4 games of conference play. And you can't get yourself behind. We talk about being prepared when the ball is tossed up. You can't wait till you get behind and start, playing and pushing the envelope. So hopefully our guys can learn from that from the past 2 games.
I know, and unfortunately it happened that way again, but you finally started getting some defensive stops, and once your team settled down and took care of the basketball and got off and running like this in transition, you were able to get yourself back in the game.
Yes, we were. I think we were down 20 at one point and had a media timeout, and I told our guys, hey, we're at home. We have to play with some pride and try to find a way to get this game down within 10 points before the halftime. And our guys took that challenge. We came out, got some defensive stops. We were able to get in transition. As you see, LaQuinton Miles with a steal there and finishes with a dunk. We were able to crash the boards as well and get the ball out and push it in transition. So our guys took a lot of pride in that, and that's a big three-point shot by Robert Crawford that he misses, but our guys continue to fight to get rebounds.
So some of the things that went against you in the first game this week, you hit the boards much better, including 17 offensive rebounds, led to 20 second chance points. I know y'all cleaned some things up, and that helped kind of keep you in this game.
It did. You know, our guys really took a lot of pride in rebounding the basketball. You look there, I think that was Terrell Brown, who came in off the bench, who hasn't played in the past few games, but he did a great job for us off the bench. In 13 minutes, he had 6 points, 7 rebounds. So, when our guys crash the boards, we do a good job of converting second chance points.
I know the difficult thing about this game, as you mentioned, you got down early, was you battled yourself back, but you never could quite get over that hump. It seemed like every time you got to within 6 to 8 points, they would hit a key three-pointer. They'd end up going to the free throw line. Whatever it was, they were able to at least take momentum back momentarily and kind of stop the runs.
Yes, they were. I know it was one point we got the lead down within 6, and I think we missed 3 straight free throws. They were able to knock down 3-point shots. And you have to have breaks when you get yourself behind. And fortunately, we didn't get the right breaks, in those key moments. But our guys continue to fight. I think LaQuinton Miles there with a great pass to Jordan Harks. Jarvis Gardner, who didn't score in the first half, came back and had a monster second half for us, ended up with 18 points.
That's how you mentioned offensively, it was spread around 4 players in double figures, 2 with 20 or more points, Jarvis with 18 on the second half. Just kind of talk about offensively how when you're able to spread the ball around like that, what kind of problems it poses the other team?
It poses a lot of problems. We have some guys who can really put up some big numbers when they're focused and attacking the basket. Sometimes we have a tendency to settle for the 3-point shot. But we're a better team when we attack the basket and try to get the ball in the paint. As you see there with Robert Crawford, a great drive in transition, and Jarvis Gardner there also finishes a strong drive with a tip in.
I know they shot 54% from outside the arc, but you outscored them in the paint, and I know that's not something y'all are working on, but do they typically shoot that well? It's just one of these things where they get on the road today, on the road, and it just happened to be their day.
They've got on the roll against us. There was a game earlier in the year, I think they shot 4 for 20. You just got to give them credit. They made shots when they counted, shooting 54%. And then they also made 81% from the free throw line to our 68.
So I know that was a frustrating thing for y'all and the fans watching is the fact they were able to get to the free throw line 37 times. That's difficult to overcome, isn't it, when they're making them?
It is, especially when they're making. We were able to get to the free throw line 35 times, but the difference is they made free throws and we didn't. And that was a struggle for us that night. So we had to do a better job of converting those free throws when we get to the line.
I know mentally the second half, these second games of these short weeks, as it turns out, from Thursday, Saturday, and playing a team like this, I'm sure that's a difficult thing, more mental than it is anything, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You play so hard in that first game. You have a one-day turnaround to get some rest, but you also have to prepare for the next game. But I think our guys have done a great job of coming in to practice that next day, ready to be focused on the scouting report. And other than the beginning of the game, I thought our guys played well.
So your record moves to 5-9. You're 0-4 in conference play after the 188 loss to Northwestern State. But I know you can take heart in the fact of kind of watching your players after the game was over and seeing how down they were and how upset they were. That's one thing that y'all have to feel encouraged about, that they're not just hanging their heads and blowing these losses off. They're taking it to heart, and you have plenty to build for. You're still in just game 4 of 18 conference games. Still plenty left to play for, isn't it?
Yeah, still a lot to play for. Like we tell our guys, we don't want to dig too deep of a hole for us to try to climb out of, but I like to see the pain in their face and in their eyes after a game, after we lose these games to tough teams like that. I know they're going to be prepared to practice next week, and we've got some winnable games coming up in our schedule. So the schedule is more favorable for us here in the next 6 games, and we'll see how well we can do.
And so you bring that up. I know you got to go out and play the games, but as you look at it this week, you travel to Sam Houston State, which will be a tough task. Then you have Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and then 4 straight home games. This little stretch of about 3 weeks right here, you can make up some ground real quick if your team will come out and play well.
Exactly. If our team come out focused, ready to play, learn from some of the mistakes that we've made in the previous games, how to approach the game at the very beginning, bringing that intensity from the jump ball, I think we have an opportunity to really regain some ground that we've lost so far.
Well, thanks for joining us here this week, Coach. Good luck next week on the road, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, Steve.
That's Coach Corliss Williamson, and we return right after this. We'll talk to Sugar Bears head coach Sandra Rushing on the Central Arkansas Basketball Report.
Hey, Jay Myers here for Crane Buick GMC in Conway, and we are big supporters of the UCA Bears. What we want to know is, what's your favorite bear call? Bear call number 1. Bear call number 2. Bear call number 3.
Go Bears!
Go Bears! Go Bears! Vote for your favorite bear call at Crane Buick GMC's Facebook page. Plus, bring in your ticket stub for an extra $500 off your next purchase. Only at the GM Giant, Crane Buick GMC. Go Bears!
Go Bears! Go Bears! Go Bears!
Flooding happens. When it does, call All Clean Restoration, Arkansas's solution to disaster restoration, flooding, fire and smoke, tornado, and more. We are Arkansas's #1 restoration company, able to reverse the damage of any disaster, large or small, and get your home or business back to the way it should be.
Tell your insurance company you prefer All Clean Restoration.
All Clean Restoration, proudly serving all of Arkansas.
Welcome back, and joining me now is Sugar Bear head coach Sandra Rushing. And Coach, got off to a good start in conference play, 2-0 on the road last week, and coming back to at home where things usually go our way against two very tough opponents in Stephen F. Austin and Northwestern State. Talk about what it's like to come back home and be here for a while finally.
Well, Steve, I was excited to get home. You know, we've been on the road, and anytime you can play at home and you have an opportunity to play in front of your fans and the support that they give us. I mean, it was really a great atmosphere, and I said it earlier, but I looked around at one point and everybody's just really into the game, and it was really exciting for me as a coach. I know it's exciting for the players.
You know, we led the league in attendance last year, and you came into this week with the third longest home winning streak in the country, and so it kind of put pressure on yourself to have to defend the home floor, and luckily that's the way the week ended up, 2-0, but it started off on Wednesday night against one of the top teams in the league, Stephen F. Austin.
And, you know, I thought we came out really aggressive, really focused first half, and, you know, had a 17-point lead going into halftime, and then came out and just really lost that lead, lost a little bit of focus, but Stephen F's a tremendous team. They picked up their intensity, and we've got to learn to match that intensity, you know. And I thought we set our intensity first half, and they had a hard time matching it, and it was just completely two different games, but fortunately, you know, we won, and I was so proud of the players, and because it could have gone another way, and they didn't give up, they didn't quit, and they fought it.
Let's get to the highlights, and we've talked about how this team has gotten off to a fast start in their first two conference games, and once again, you couldn't ask for a better start here on Thursday night against a team that can actually match your big players. Not too many teams can do that in our league, but Stephen F. Austin's definitely one of them.
I thought they have some really strong posts, but I think we do too. That was a great move there by Courtney. She can put it on the floor. She makes good moves on the block. I think one of our strengths is, you know, running the floor. There's Megan and an assist by BG. Another drive there by Tracy. And like I said, I just really loved our intensity first half. And we've got to be able to put 40 minutes together. But, you know, we've got a lot of basketball ahead of us. And I don't want us to relax and think, okay, you know, we've won a couple ball games, because there's a lot to be played.
So your three-point shooting came through again in the first half. You went 4 of 9 from behind the arc. Brittany Gowans hit one where she's been hitting lights out since conference play started. Just talk about how that opens up an inside team like Stephen F. Austin.
Oh, absolutely, because they come in and they're concentrating on our inside game, and when you have like BG to step up or Tracy step up and hit the threes, it's opening up a little bit for Courtney and Megan.
We talk about Tracy Parsons there. She delivers a nice entry pass for a basket, and she had 8 assists in the game. She's one of those players since Micah's went down that even though she's new to our program, she's still a senior. She's been through the wars of college basketball for 4 years. Talk about what her presence at the point guard has really meant to this team.
Well, she plays with so much heart and so much passion, and she loves the game. And, you know, she's going to go out and play hard on every possession. And, you know, for her to have to step up and run the point guard for us, especially since Micah, you know, was injured, has done a tremendous job and has accepted that role.
Then you got another player that came in, as Ty Amos. We hadn't seen her for several weeks, but this week we saw her reemerge, and the energy she had. We saw Brittany Gowans on the defensive end a couple of segments ago, and then Ty Amos come in and hit a big shot.
Right, and Ty has worked to get in shape. She's a tremendous athlete, and people are finally getting to see the reason that, you know, she's here at UCA, because she's very talented, and, you know, she hustles. I mean, she makes hustle plays, and, you know, the fans can see that.
Courtney Doover took over down the stretch when his team was down. She ended up with 14 points, 10 rebounds. It's usually Megan Herbert. We talk about double-doubles. Courtney's had 5 of them, and we've talked about how important both those players are when they're in sync. But Courtney really stepped up at the end of the game.
Courtney is a competitor. Courtney, I mean, she can shoot it. She can put it on the floor. She runs the floor well, and she's just an all-around player. I wish that we would play a little bit better defense, but that comes with time, and she is trying. And Courtney really does not realize how good she can. Said, "Oh, we had to fight so hard back," but they kept fighting and was able to pull it out, and they never quit. No, we didn't make good decisions second half at all, basketball decisions, but they never quit, and the effort was unbelievable, and you could see it in the huddle how bad they wanted to win.
So you carry a 4-game winning streak into your game against Northwestern State, and oddly enough, ironically enough, it's the last team that beat the Sugar Bears in regular season play here at home. And I know they're rebuilding under a first-year co-head coaches, but talk about the challenge that you had with Northwestern State coming into Saturday.
Well, I was concerned about playing them just because they run that Princeton offense, and they had a lot of back doors. And when you're having to play such a hard game on Thursday night, and then you're having to shift gears and prepare for Saturday with somebody that runs their offense well, and they make you play defense for 30 seconds. And we knew that going in. And I thought that when we started out the game, we didn't have the intensity that I really wanted. And I thought that we made some substitutions, and our young kids went in and really gave us a boost. And I say young kids, our bench. And I was excited to see that. But we were fortunate, and I thought we defended well. The back door, they got a couple of them, but you're going to get that when a team runs their offense so well into the year.
I know another thing going into this game on Saturday, distractions-wise, not only with the win streak coming in, but Megan Herbert honored pregame for setting the conference record and then the school rebounding record, and she was also on the cusp of 2,000 points, which she'd be just the 5th player in school history to do that. And the fireworks started early on the first play of the game. As we go to the highlights, you'll see that Megan Herbert, ran a play especially for her to try to get her that basket, and they ran it perfectly. And as you see her go to the hole, she's able to convert and pick up that 2,000 points. Just kind of talk about how special a moment this was.
Oh, I think that is special. To hit 2,000 points. And you know what's special, too, is that she did it at home and had the opportunity to do it in front of, the home crowd. And the players were excited. They talked about it before the game. And everybody, we wanted to run the play for Megan so she could get it early. And she's so unselfish and so humble. She really didn't want to stop the game to be recognized because she didn't want to mess up the momentum of the game. But I said absolutely not, that she deserves that. She worked hard for it.
And one thing you can appreciate playing the game at a high level that you did is what she's accomplished. And she talked about afterward the opportunity to do that, just to have the opportunity to set these records. And as of right now, be one of only 2 players, the other Brittany Griner, with over 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds. But how she appreciates what she's accomplished.
Oh, absolutely. And she gives credit a lot to her teammates and, being here at UCA. And like I said, she's so humble, modest, and just such a winner and a competitor. She's a leader. She's a silent leader. And she's a hard-nosed young lady.
And as we go to the game, another good start, but Northwestern State battled back, and at some point in the first half, after a media timeout, I think you had some encouraging words for the officiating crew, but your team took that energy and went on an 11-0 run to end the first half, led 31-18, and in the second half, you were able to keep them at bay all second half.
Yeah, Steve, I could not, give credit to the officials. They've got a very difficult job, and us coaches over there, we're just fighting for our players and trying to understand something, and it's never anything personal. It's just I'm a very competitive person and want to figure things out because I like winning, and that was I can't say that was unusual for me, but I can say that it did turn the momentum around a little bit.
We talked about Courtney earlier, and she did not miss a shot in this game. Megan led all scorers with 22, but Courtney Doover went 7 of 7 from the field, including 3 of 3 from behind the arc, and had 19 points. When you're getting 41 points from those 2 alone, and Northwestern State, credit to your defense, only scored 44, you put yourself in position to win a lot of ball games, which we have so far. So your team comes out on the right end of a 60-44 win. You pick up your 11th win on this season. You won 5 in a row. You're 11-4 now. 4-0 in league play. You couldn't ask for a better start. And as we go into Week 3 conference, you're the only undefeated team. The Sugar Bears are the only undefeated team in league play. And it doesn't get any easier because now you go on the road to take on Sam Houston State, who should be at the top of the list. They finally lost on Saturday to McNeese State, but we typically haven't played well in Huntsville. And
I've watched film on them this weekend, and they're very solid. They do a lot of on-ball screens, a lot of things. You know, they're big. They're big. Their guard play is great, and we do have a challenge on Thursday night. But you know, we've got to go in this week and prepare and understand our game plan, and we've got to go play. And you know, I don't think, Steve, that we have played our best basketball yet. Now, we've played some good basketball, but of course you don't want to play your best basketball in January. You want to play your best basketball in February and March. And you know, we've been without Chantel and Micah, and when we can get everybody back and healthy, you know, hopefully that'll take place in February.
After Huntsville on Thursday, you got to make the long bus trip to Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And although Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they're off to a slow start, making that long of a trip and spending that long of time on the road, anything can happen on the back end of that short turnaround.
Absolutely, and you can't take anybody lightly. I mean, like I said, in this league, anything can happen. And you know, we're going to have a hard game on Thursday night, and I can promise you it's going to be a hard game on Saturday, and we cannot overlook anybody. I mean, you know, we want to go in and play the solid defense and communicate and hit our free throws. I have to say that we've got to do a better job at the free throw line.
Well, Coach, congratulations on your 4-0 start. Good luck this week on the road, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
That's Coach Rushing of the Central Arkansas Sugar Bears. And don't forget, you can catch both the Bears and the Sugar Bears in action on the road at Sam Houston State on Thursday night. The Sugar Bears at 5:30 and the men at 7:30. And then again on Saturday afternoon at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. The Sugar Bears play at 1 o'clock. The men play at 3:30. You can catch both those games live on the Bear 91.3 or on your official home of UCA Athletics on the World Wide Web, ucasports.com. Please join us next time on the Central Arkansas Basketball Report.
Real Yellow Pages, YP.com, and YP.com on your mobile. More ways to search, more ways to find. Only from AT&T.
Zaxby's, indescribably good.